What should my body do first so that my
So
mind
that's
can
a very
follow
good
up?
question. Because when I realized, this is what happened. I grew up in Hawaii. My father's head of education. On one side of the street is a schools, the elementary school for labor union kids. It was called Union School. So the kids that went there were union members. Their fathers were either Portuguese, Filipino, Chinese, Korean, like that. Directly, I mean, less than 20 yards across the street was Riverside School, the school for the rich kids. So their fathers owned the plantations that the union kids worked for. I talk about a cycle farm. I'm going. So for some reason, my father didn't cheat, but I got into the rich kids' school. So I'm sitting there for the first time, 9 years old, going, how come they're poor and we're rich? These guys are, what's the difference? That was the question. So then I'm in Sunday school and flunking out of Sunday school too. I'm sitting like this, and the teacher says, why were the three wise men wise? I raised my hand and said, she goes, why? Because they were rich. She goes, and in church, the love of money is the root of all evil, right?
Yeah.
So when I
But
said,
it is the love of money. It's not money. People make that mistake.
I understand,
Yeah,
but it's their
yeah.
cop-out for being poor. Oh, I all know the game. I'm not idiot. So I sat there going, she goes, so I said, she said, why do you think they're rich? I said, gold, frankincense, myrrh, that costs money. And she goes, how do you know that? I said, well, I study money. I do study money. And she goes, that didn't make them rich. I said, well, what did? And then she said the magic words. They sought the best teacher. So in, Christians, Jesus Christ. Buddhism, it's Buddha. And I went, so my job as a kid is to seek the best teacher? She goes, yes. And so I'm in a rich kids' school across the street of the union kids, laborers' kids. And I went looking for a teacher. And that's when I found my rich dad, who was my best friend's father in the same school.
One of the things.
Anyway, so please hear me. Seek your teachers. And YouTube and what you guys are doing, you're giving the world access to millions of teachers. So I think YouTube's good and bad to it. But seek out the best teachers.
One of the things for a lot, and I have a 19-year-old son, and he's doing great, but his peers, a lot of them, when they do that, they say, okay, I don't believe the nonsense I'm being told. I'm being told I'm toxic and this and that, communism. And I'm like, I don't like any of that. So they go online and they encounter characters like Andrew Tate and others who are essentially pitching them. It's not all bad what they say. Some of it's helpful, but some of it's just kind of get rich quick scam artistry.
Correct.
How should someone recognize when that's what's going on? Because if you don't have that knowledge and you're looking for your first teacher and they turn out to be some Ponzi scheme bozo, you might not know that they're a Ponzi scheme bozo. Oh, they got a Bugatti. They're like the three wise men, but just with Bugattis and harems and stuff.
Yeah.
So they're sort of like a demonic
Well,
three wise men.
Pretty. If it's too good to be true, it's probably fake, But the best podcast I've ever done, one of those get rich quick guys came on my show. He was hoping that my audience, would infiltrate his audience and all that stuff. And he was giving what I thought was the worst advice. And he's pretty famous to this day. He's still up there. I took him on, you SOB. I chewed him out. And I thought it was the worst thing I'd ever done. And to this day, people come up to me and say, that was the best podcast ever, because I took him on.